Good morning. Welcome to your daily morning digest for Saturday, February 14th, 2026. Happy Valentine's Day to those celebrating, and to everyone else, welcome to 15 minutes of the most interesting business, global, and life insights to start your weekend right. We begin today in the financial markets, where the narrative has been one of survival and calculated positioning. While the major indices have felt a bit range-bound lately, not quite breaking out, but not breaking down either, there are clear winners emerging from the recent quarterly earnings season. Three companies in particular have caught the eyes of analysts this week for holding strong against the tide. We're looking at Meta, Johnson & Johnson, and TSMC. Despite the broader market's indecision, these firms mostly beat expectations. What's fascinating here isn't just their survival, but why they aren't spiking higher. It's a classic case of the wall of worry. Investors are seeing solid numbers, but the concern over how long this range-bound action will last is keeping that risk-on button from being fully pressed. It tells us that in 2026, quality is being defended, but exuberance is hard to find. Speaking of risk, the US labor market just threw a curveball that the markets are still trying to catch. A blowout jobs report has officially landed, and surprisingly, the markets didn't panic. Normally, a too strong a jobs report makes investors fear a more aggressive Federal Reserve, sending stocks lower. But this time? Markets absorbed the news with a strange sort of calm. Gold took a bit of a hit, slipping below the $5,000 mark, yes, a significant level there, and silver slumped too, as the dollar found some footing. But the risk-on sentiment held its ground. It's as if the market has finally accepted that a strong economy is fundamentally good news, even if it means interest rates stay higher for longer. It's a shift in psychology that we've been watching for months, and seeing it play out this week shows a maturing, more resilient investor base. Now, let's talk about the digital gold. Bitcoin has had a volatile week, currently steadying with a nearly 4% rise. But don't let that daily green candle distract you. Bitcoin is still set for its fourth straight weekly loss. It's been a rough month for the bulls, as traders keep a nervous eye on upcoming US inflation data. The level to watch is 66,000. After a brief, heart-stopping drop towards 60,000 earlier this month, we saw a rapid recovery back above 70, but that momentum has fizzled. It's a tug-of-war between institutional accumulation and short-term macro fears. And if you want to know how extreme the tension really is, look no further than the latest Bibit and Blockscholes report. It reveals that crypto derivatives markets have hit their most extreme positioning since the FTX collapse in late 2022. That is a heavy statement. We are seeing massive open interest and positioning that suggests a significant move is brewing, though the direction remains anyone's guess. When derivatives get this stretched, it usually means the snapback, when it happens, will be violent. Whether you're a long-term holder or a day trader, this isn't a market for the faint of heart right now. The leverage is coiled like a spring. In the world of physical commodities, there's a major move happening in the energy sector. US refiner Valero is reportedly gearing up to import up to 6.5 million barrels of Venezuelan crude this March. This is a massive play. For years, Venezuelan oil was largely off limits, but as global supply chains shift and heavy crude becomes harder to source, we're seeing a pragmatic return to regional neighbors. For Valero, this is about refining efficiency. Their Gulf Coast plants are designed for this specific type of heavy oil. It's a reminder that geography often trumps politics when it comes to the global energy grid. Finally, in company news, keep an eye on Westwood. Their Q for slides just dropped, and there's a curious story there. Revenue grew to over $27 million despite the firm seeing net outflows of capital. Ordinarily, when money leaves a fund, revenue goes with it. But Westwood managed to pivot, likely through higher margin services or better performance on their remaining assets. It's a classic example of doing more with less and a signal to the industry that assets under management aren't the only metric that matters anymore. Moving away from the ticker tapes, we have two incredible stories from the global stage that you might have missed. First, we head to Colombo, Sri Lanka, for one of the greatest upsets in modern cricket history. On Friday, in the T20 World Cup, the underdog Zimbabwe team absolutely stunned the former champions, Australia. Defending a modest target of 169 runs, Zimbabwe's bowlers put on a masterclass. Blessing Musarabani was the hero of the night, taking 4 wickets for just 17 runs. Australia, a titan of the sport, was bowled out for 146. The scenes in Colombo were electric. For Zimbabwe, this isn't just a win, it secures their spot in the Super 8 and puts Australia on the brink of an early exit. It's a reminder of why we watch sports. On any given day, the giant can fall. And in India, a new chapter of history was written in the capital. Prime Minister Narendra Modi officially inaugurated the Savartirth complex in New Delhi. This isn't just another government building, it's the new home of the Prime Minister's office, the National Security Council, and the Cabinet Secretariat. It's a massive, integrated complex that shifts the center of gravity for the Indian government. Modi described it as a milestone for Viksit Bharat, a developed India. The old PMO is expected to become a museum, marking the end of an era and the beginning of a modernized, high-tech command center for the world's most populous nation. And now, let's shift gears to today's Life Wisdom segment. Our topic today comes from one of the most influential texts in history, Sun Tzu's The Art of War. Specifically, we are looking at the timeless principle, know yourself and know your enemy. Sun Tzu famously wrote that if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. But if you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained you will also suffer a defeat. And if you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. It sounds like a military strategy, but in 2026, it is the ultimate strategy for personal and professional life. We often spend all our time studying our enemy, the competition, the market, the obstacles in our way. But how much time do we spend studying ourselves? Do we know our true limits, our triggers, our unique advantages? Sun Tzu's point is that every battle is actually won before it is fought. It's not about who has the most raw talent or the most money. It's about preparation and self-awareness. When you know your own strengths and weaknesses with absolute clarity, you stop fighting battles you aren't equipped for. You wait for the moment where your specific setup gives you the unfair advantage. That's not being passive, that's being strategic. In a world of noisy competition, the person who has done the quiet work of self-assessment is the one who eventually wins without even having to struggle. Knowledge of the self is the ultimate defense, and knowledge of the terrain is the ultimate offense. Take a moment this weekend to look inward before you look at the challenges ahead. Know yourself, know the ground you're standing on, and the victory is already yours. That's all for today's Morning Digest. I'm your host, and it's been a pleasure starting the day with you. Have a fantastic Saturday, stay curious, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. Goodbye.